Hello everybody and welcome to this SKF Stronger event. My name is Elin Lidén. Today we will talk about the importance of using genuine SKF products and how SKF works with these types of questions. With that, I would like to welcome you again and hand over to our presenter, Kjetil Eliassen.
Thank you very much, Elin. And a warm welcome from me as well to this seminar hosted by SKF Group Brand Protection called Don't Jeopardize Reliable Rotation Buy Genuine SKF Products. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to join the session this morning and this afternoon. It really means a lot to us from SKF. And I would like to start this webinar by asking a question. This is a question that I sometimes struggle to find the answer to. And not only is this a question, this is also one of my biggest work-related challenges. And that is, how can I connect reliable and safe rotation with proper and safeguarded purchasing routines? How can I connect these? To better illustrate my challenge, I'd like to tell you a short story. I spend quite a lot of time visiting customers in my job. And when I arrive at the customer site, the procedure is pretty much always the same. I need to go to the reception. I need to register my PC, my phone. I need to show ID. I need to be made aware of all the safety aspects at the customer side. Sometimes I watch a video that lets me know how to behave, how to use the protective gear that has been handed out to me. And don't misunderstand me. I have nothing against the customer's concern for my safety when I visit. But my challenge is, and what I really don't understand, is that only a few meters away from where I am located, there is a purchasing department. And in this purchasing department, they have wide open windows and wide open doors to select suppliers that likely will provide this customer with counterfeit SKF products. Counterfeit SKF products that in machinery, in operation, really will put all the safety focus of the customer to the test. So that's my biggest challenge. And today I'm going to present to you how we from SKF work with these questions. And I have put together an agenda for today. We want to talk about the supply chain of counterfeit products. Where these products come from, how do they reach the market? We want to talk about what do we know about quality and product performance in machinery? We want to talk about, does it really matter? Is there any consequences for the end user, for the customers using counterfeit SKF products? And the day would not be complete unless we give you our absolute best advice on how to stay on the safe side and away from counterfeit products. So we have a lot of things to cover and we have a lot of questions to answer. I am going to try my best to give you an answer to all of these questions. And my name is Kjetil Eliassen, and I've been with SKF for the past 18 years, of which the past 6 years I've held a position as a SKF Group Brand Protection Manager. And that means that I'm a trained specialist in working with trademark protection, a trained specialist when it comes to product verification, telling what is a counterfeit product and what is a genuine product. So let's start at the very beginning with looking at how SKF define a counterfeit product. And we say it like this. We say that this is a non-SKF made product that is marked with an SKF trademark to give the impression that this is made by SKF. On the table here, I have a few counterfeited SKF products. And not only are we talking about bearings, rolling bearings, we're also talking about lubricants, and we're talking about seals, we are also talking about bearing housings, etc. Now, when we say counterfeit, what exactly do we mean? Because I know you all have an understanding of what counterfeit is, what fake is, what pirate copy is, probably the most common word. We're not talking about a pirate copy. We are talking about trademark infringement, meaning that someone has produced a rolling bearing outside of SKF without the consent of SKF, and they have illegally marked that product with SKF-owned trademark. And they have also made sure that they have packaging material looking like original SKF packaging material. So don't think that the counterfeiters who are behind this are copying our choice of material, our manufacturing methods, the design, etc., etc. They are only taking a product produced by anyone and marking it with the SKF trademarks. That's what we are talking about. So let's move forward and take a look at how these products reach the market, where they come from. And my idea was to do this in 3 pragmatic steps. We're going to talk about the seller of counterfeit. Who are they? How can you recognize them? How do you know when you've been contacted by sellers of counterfeit? We're going to talk about the actual manufacturing of the product. And we're going to talk about branding, the branding workshops, where they apply SKF-owned trademarks to products not produced by SKF. Very often it starts with an email. This email that you see on the screen, we have seen hundreds of variants of this email. These companies who send these emails, they have a few things in common. They, of course, claim to be suppliers of premium brands, premium products. They claim that the quality and the price and the lead time of the products that they are offering are very, very competitive. They also claim to represent all the premium brands, all the premium manufacturers of roller bearings. And most of these companies also have some sort of an email or a web address written in the email. So this is, of course, from a procurement perspective, this is quite attractive. You get all the things you want. You have attractive prices. You have very short lead times. You can choose brand from a wide variety of manufacturers, and you can visit their homepage to check who is behind this email, who is this company that has approached me, and who are they trying to sell bearings to my company. So let's go and visit this company online. Here we are dealing with a company called Eric Bearings, and they claim to be located in Hong Kong. So clicking on their homepage, you actually arrive at this very specific place. And to the untrained eye, this is a relatively okay web page, I would say. There is clearly some affiliation to SKF on this page. There are some product pictures. In addition, they also have, although small, but they do have some pictures of industry areas, some machinery. They also have a little picture of some sort of a warehouse. And although these pictures are relatively small, they are significant. And why is that? Well, the pictures of machinery and industry, that indicates to you as a buyer, to a potential buyer, that Eric Bearings have a substantial competence and knowledge in a wide variety of industries, with a wide variety of machinery. That enhances their credibility as a supplier. They have a picture of a warehouse indicating that any bearing need that you may have will be supplied to you directly from their stock. And that explains why they in the email can write very short delivery times. So with this in mind, imagine you get the email, imagine you visit the homepage of the seller, and way back in your mind there is a bell ringing and you think to yourself, didn't I hear SKF once talk about counterfeit products and how these products reach the market? So you're concerned that this company may not sell you genuine products, so you contact them. The next thing that will happen is that upon your request to them, where you ask, are you really going to sell me genuine SKF products? They will send you all kinds of certification, documentation, proving to you that they are affiliated to SKF. They will send you fake certificates that they are an authorized distributor. They will send you certificates of conformity, certificates of origin. They will send you authenticity certificates, all to try to convince you that the products that you are buying are genuine. My advice to you is that don't place any trust whatsoever in this kind of documentation. If people behind this industry can make the products, they can make the packaging material, they can take lubricants, make counterfeit cans, and they can cast housings that are counterfeit, how easy do you think it is for them to make a forgery out of a document? It's very, very easy. Now, going back to their homepage, I told that Eric Bearing is located in Hong Kong. Above the red line on the screen, you can actually see their address, their place of business. And a couple of years ago, I spent 2 full days in Hong Kong together with a few colleagues of mine. And one of the main purposes of that visit was to actually visit Erik Bearings. And not only did we want to visit Erik Bearings, but we had a list of 6 companies that we were to visit in one day. Because if I am going to have some sort of credibility in my work and to really know what I'm talking about, this was really important. To go and see all these companies, to find out from where are they sourcing the products? What do they know? What kind of experience do they have with various industry areas, with various machinery used in various industries? Do they actually have a warehouse? Do they actually supply the products directly from their own shelf to your operation? So we visited these 6 companies during one day. And I didn't find any of the companies that I was looking for, because Erik Bearings doesn't exist. And neither does any of the other 5 companies that we visited that day. And this is actually what we found. This is the real Erik Bearings. You can see here on the pictures that I've made my way to number 9 Yin Chong Street on the Kowloon side in Hong Kong. I've found the correct building. I have made my way up to the 21st floor, and I have located office number 1. And there is no evidence that Erik Bearings operates from this address. And that's because Erik Bearings is a shell company. It's a shell company set up by the counterfeiters somewhere in Singapore, in Taiwan, in Hong Kong. And when you communicate with via the email or via the website, you're not communicating with this business on this business address. You are communicating directly with the counterfeiters from wherever they operate. So that is the seller. So be aware that the company behind the email, the company that the sender of the email claims to represent, that company doesn't exist. But I can place orders, you say. I will also likely get the products that I place order for. Where are these products coming from? The counterfeiters that you communicate with, they have a wide network of factories from which they can source the products that you are inquiring for. A simple fix to this problem with counterfeit SKF bearings, wouldn't that just be to close the factories? Couldn't we as SKF, with legal means, with the help of authorities and enforcement authorities, close down these factories who clearly are infringing our trademarks and cheating our customers with counterfeit products? Well, it's not that easy, because the factories, the ones that we know of, they are legitimate factories. They produce rolling bearings under their own brand, or they produce rolling bearings that they sell to the market without any brand whatsoever marked on them. And that is completely legal. So we cannot really touch the factories. But the factories for sure enable a significant short lead time of products to the market because there are so many factories. What about the marking then? What about the marking on this package? It's some sort of a printing. There is laser marking on the actual product that looks, to the untrained eye, I must say, quite good. Behind all that is what we call a branding workshop. And when I was in Hong Kong, I was also able to go and visit one of these branding workshops together with the police during a legal action. We have been tipped off, and we had investigated this address for some time. We contacted the police and we say that we believe that on this address there is some illegal activity going on. Can you please join us and go and have a look? And they did. And what we found in a housing complex, we found a 4-bedroom apartment. And in 2 of the rooms, it was completely filled with packaging material. Not only SKF branded packaging, but also packaging material from most of our competitors. In a second room, we also found some marking equipment. On this picture, you can see a relatively simple laser machine attached to a PC that contains software and information about how SKF and all the other competitors are marking their products, depending on bearing type and depending on bearing size. So with this relatively simple equipment, you can mark quite good-sized roller bearings from this one room in an apartment. So that's concluding how these products reach the market. Who is the seller? Who is the factory? And where does the branding take place? And it's also from the branding workshop that these products are packed and sent into the industrial market. Now moving on. What can be said about the quality and the performance of these products in machinery? What is it that the customer can expect? Well, we've looked at the packaging material, and I must admit that looking at the package as such, it's really difficult to say if this is a genuine or a counterfeit packaging material. But I have never heard of any customer mounting packaging material into the machinery. You mount the product, or you use the product. But remember, I told you there are hundreds, likely thousands of factories where these products can come from. So there is no traceability. There is no way that I can find out where this specific product was manufactured. Which means that I can never be sure of what kind of quality system they have in that factory. And the quality system in the factory will tell me what kind of performance can I expect to get from that product. And since I don't have that information, the only word that I can use to explain how that product will perform in machinery, it's unreliable. And if there is one thing I have learned for spending more than 18 years working with a wide variety of industries in my roles in SKF, I have learned that the word unreliability is among the worst words that you can use. And as I told you when we talked about the branding workshop, all brands are affected by this problem. SKF and all of our competitors. So if you think that, the simple solution to this problem is just to switch away from any product that is marked SKF, that's not going to solve the problem. You have to go deeper than that. You have to solve the problem by its root. And that is to blacklist the suppliers that sold you counterfeit products of any brand. And you need to properly make sure that you have safeguarded your purchasing routines. That's how you can solve the problem. So, with this knowledge, what then are the consequences of using counterfeit products? Does it really matter? Can it really be that dangerous? Well, let's have a look at it. We've called this seminar, Do Not Jeopardize Reliable Rotation by Genuine SKF Products. And of course, we do not want you to jeopardize your KPI fulfillments. And what are they? We know that you, as a machine builder, you invest in innovation. And you want to speed up innovation because that increases the performance and quality of the machinery that you deliver to the market. We know that for the end user who are constantly focused on technical upgrades to improve reliability of their machinery, we know that that will significantly change if counterfeit products enter your operation. What about reliability? Controlling operational costs and the focus on safety. Reliability, I mentioned, is probably one of the most beautiful words in the industry because it means that the machinery will operate when you want it to operate. It also means that you can control your operational costs. And your focus on safety is also very, very important. The safety of the machinery, the safety of the employees working, but also the safety of the environment. And lastly, what about your brands and your reputation in the market and the market leadership position that you hold? All of this can be jeopardized if counterfeit products enter your operation. So those are some pretty negative consequences. And the consequences can be of catastrophic proportions. But we have a solution, and we have a suggestion for you. And that is the best way to safeguard authenticity is to buy SKF products from trusted and from authorized sources. We at SKF have a global network of more than 17,000 authorized distributors all over the world, because this is truly a global problem. Counterfeit products exists on all geographical markets, within all industry, and all product types and sizes are represented. So this is our advice. This is the best advice that we can give. And not only do we want to give you an advice on where to buy your SKF products, there is more included. So let's look at some other benefits. Genuine SKF products increases the performance of your machinery, and it also enables you to keep focusing on safety, knowing that no counterfeit product in operation will cause any severe damage to machinery, to people working, or to the environment. Secondly, select suppliers that you can partner with. Select suppliers that can provide you and send you products that will put you ahead of your competition and speed up the innovation plans that you have for your operation. Authorized distributors can be knowledge partners, fulfilling your targets and helping you as an organization, as a customer, to reach all the targets that you have set. An authorized distributor really can leverage on SKF knowledge. Implement and set in place a proper anti-counterfeit plan. I sometimes like to use the word transparency, organizational transparency with these things, because I've found in my experience that the more people, the more functions in a customer organization that knows about the plan and are aware of the existence of counterfeit products, the better it is and the better chances you have to stay away from sellers of counterfeit products. And also, genuine products will help increase the market trust for your company. Imagine that counterfeit products are mounted into machinery that fails. That means that you will have production stops that eventually will lead to a broken promise to your customer. Imagine that if you are working, for example, in a food and beverage industry, and you have very specific requirement within the food zone to use food-graded lubricants, for example, that are approved by the NSF, for example. If a counterfeit lubricant is used, then that potentially could leak onto the processed goods and contaminate it, so you can't use it. Meaning that you will have to do a market recall. That can significantly do some harm to the brands that you've worked so hard to maintain. So genuine products can increase the trust, your trust in the market. Moving on, we will look at some concrete things that we advise you to do. First of all, if you have ever had contact with any suppliers of counterfeit, if you know that your operation in the past have been supplied with counterfeit products, identify the suppliers and blacklist them. Turn away from them. You must remember that all they care about is short-term profit. They have absolutely no intention of fulfilling your KPIs or helping you to get reliable rotation or for you to control the cost of your operation or to focus on safety. They don't care about any of that. Second point, make sure that you safeguard your purchasing processes. And by that I mean find out who your supplier is. You need to understand who they are, who they represent, and what they can supply in terms of products, and also how they can be a knowledge partner for your company. Contact an authorized distributor from SKF. Authorized distributors very often have engineers working there that can help you with technical problems. The authorized distributors are there in the market to help secure supply of products, and they really can leverage on all the SKF knowledge that we have acquired over well over 100 years. And lastly, I would highly recommend that you install and use the SKF Authenticate app to check authenticity of any product that you have doubts with. This smartphone application we developed some years ago. It's called SKF Authenticate. And with 3 relatively simple steps, following the instructions in the app, you can contact SKF Group Brand Protection and have your products verified. Install the app. On the first page of the app, you will receive information on how you can take pictures of the product or the product package in question. Make sure that you take clear pictures of the product or of the package, including all printed information and all sides of the package. If a bearing has failed in machinery or you question the authenticity of the product, if the product is still in machine, see if you can wipe it down with a rug so you can sort of see the marking on the product, and take as clear pictures as you possibly can. On the next step, you can actually check the pictures that you have taken. Make sure that they are readable. And in the last step, you enter your contact information, because that is the kind of information that we will use to get back to you with the verification reply. We reply and respond to all of the requests coming to us within 24 hours. There is a few exceptions to that timeline, but I'd say 98% of all the requests coming to us are answered within 24 hours. We are going to have a question and answer session after this presentation. So I encourage you to use the chat function to send any questions to us that you may have. And the question and answer session will start immediately after the presentation is finished. So to make a summary out of what we have covered today, we have looked at the supply chain, where these products are coming from and how they reach the market. Who is the seller? Who is the factory, the manufacturing part of the supply chain of counterfeit products? And we've also looked at the branding. Where are these products branded? We've looked at the quality and performance. We have looked at the consequences that the use of counterfeit products may cause to your operation. And we have, of course, also looked at some of the solutions, some of the best advice that we from SKF can give to you, our customers. So with that said, I hope that you now have a better understanding of what I actually started this presentation with. My question, my challenge to connect reliable rotation with safe and secure purchasing routines. And now you can see that these now fit nicely together. Because in order to avoid counterfeit products, in order to avoid using them, in order to avoid any of the negative consequences of counterfeit products, I see very much the solution being in the procurement processes. By knowing who your suppliers are, by knowing how to select suppliers properly. And that leaves me with only one thing to say, one encouragement that I would like to give to you. And to make this a little bit bigger and to sort of put it into a better context, so to say, I want to say that the problem with counterfeit goods, not only industrial components like bearings, housing, lubricants, seals, etc., but the whole global trade of counterfeit, because it's a massive, massive industry. The OECD says that approximately 3.3% of all trade, global trade, is done with counterfeit products. This figure comes from customs authorities around the world, which means that the 3.3% represent goods that crosses borders. It does not include domestically produced and consumed counterfeit goods, which is also huge. So this is a big industry. It's big business, and it's vast amount of money involved in the trade of counterfeit goods. And what can we do about it as customers, as producers of roller bearings, but also as private persons? Is there anything that we can do to undermine this trade or to make it go away? Well, I believe there is. I genuinely believe that we have a lot of power and a lot of responsibility to minimize the trade with counterfeit goods. But it's going to start with you, and it's going to start with me, and the decisions we make. From which supplier are we going to buy whatever we need? Are you going to make the selection among authorized distributors, dealers, or are you going to select the other group of suppliers that you don't really know? You don't really know what kind of products or the genuinity of the products that they will sell you. That is the decision that we can take, and that is what will make the difference. Because without knowledge, I can understand that it's difficult. But now that you've received knowledge that you can use, and the beautiful thing with knowledge is that once you have it, it can change absolutely everything. So thank you for joining. Thank you for listening in. Don't forget to write your questions in the chat, and we'll be back momentarily to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your attention.